I got admitted to ESCP Paris campus with a 100% scholarship for MIM.
In today's video, we have Ashish with us. We will be covering questions like, tell me a little bit about yourself, why ESCP and why MIM, which specializations do we want to work in, which sectors do you want to work in, and other questions that were asked by the interviewers to us in reality in our interview rounds. So without further delay, let's just dive in. So hi Ashish, thank you so much for being here.
Hello Sumay. Thank you for having me.
We are all here for knowing how you cracked your ESCP interview. Let's start with tell me about yourself.
Yes, I'm Ashish and I'm from Visakhapatnam, a city in the southern part of India. And I'm a mechanical engineer who graduated from NIT Kurukshetra in 2021. I chose mechanical engineering because I was really interested in how machines work and I was just very curious about how things work in general. But again, I never really restricted myself to that one domain. I loved exploring and I worked as a research intern in IIT Kanpur's aerospace engineering department. Then, post my graduation, I worked with Hindustan Petroleum in the oil and gas sector for around 7 months. I decided that it's not something I enjoyed much, so I moved to a tech startup in Hyderabad, GetWorks, where I have been working since 2022 as an SDE, and I work on machine learning, backend, and AI mostly that. I told them everything that was not on my resume. Like I did a 1 minute recapitulation of my work experience, my academics, etc. But most of the time went into telling them about my hobbies, how I grew up, what my familial background is. So I thought in my introduction I would quickly give a chronological order of my life choices and why I did them very shortly, and maybe stress on the points that I want them to talk about further. Why ESCP and why MIM? Yeah, I'll just answer this in the reverse order. So, why MIM specifically? I always wanted to have a firm of my own and run a business on my own. But again, I thought I would start with first building a product and then implementing it somewhere or getting in a client and eventually building a business out of it. So I started working on the tech side of the product. I started building it. Yeah, I realized that building the product is not the only thing. There's a lot which goes on in the background, and that is the most important thing of all. So I decided that to get that business knowledge, I wanted to do a master's in uh, business. But again, the choice of why MIM over an MBA would be, so the first thing is the work experience. I do not have like 5 to 6 years of work experience to get an MBA admit in top B schools. But I do have an advantage when I apply to MIM because I have a little work experience. So that's the first thing. And the second, yeah, I would be lying if I did not say ROI. The fees of MIM is around 50,000 euros on average. But whereas if you compare it to the MBA fees, it's almost double. It's around 90,000 to 100,000 euros. Yes, the pay scales are different. You would be probably paid like 100 to 120K 3 years after your master's with an MIM, and with an MBA, it's nearly like 190 to 200K. But again, I feel like it's a risk and reward thing. So I did not want to risk investing so much capital into my education, and I don't have the experience also. I did not want to wait for 3 more years to do this. And coming to why ESCP, I did apply to other B schools. So, I mean, we all go through the FT rankings, financial times rankings, and pick the top schools out of it. I applied to HEC Paris, ESCP, ESSEC, and INSEAD, and I got into ESCP, ESSEC, and INSEAD. Uh, the reason why I picked ESCP is because it has a multinational exposure. I get to do my master's not just in Paris, but let's say I can do a specialization in investment banking in London if I wish to, or I can go to the Berlin campus if I want to do another specialization. And I think this will not only give you an international exposure, but it will also help you with your jobs. You will have an opportunity to find jobs in different countries. So that is one thing I like. And apart from that, there's an option to do a gap year. So if I started in 2024, I don't have to complete my master's immediately in 2026. I can take an optional gap of 6 months, 1 year, and do certain internships in the fields I like, experiment a bit again, and actually find out which field I want to do my full-time job in.
In my case, I also talked about some initiatives and specializations that were in ESCP that really excited me. And I also talked about France as a study location and why, it had a magnetic effect to me. There was a question asked to you that which specializations do you plan on taking?
Yeah, I think everyone should know that this answer, whatever we say here, it'll be completely different what we are going to do in the campus. Because once you reach the campus, you'll have a different exposure, you'll learn new things and accordingly make your choices. But yeah, what I said in the interview and now, so I would like to do my specializations in consulting and then investment banking. So consulting because uh, I want to work in strategy consulting eventually, but at the same time, I want to explore investment banking also because I feel like in that space, the potential growth and new opportunities of using AI and more intelligent methods, that is along with decentralized finance and all these things. So that space interests me a bit, which is why I want to do an investment banking specialization in London. For this IB specialization, actual people from industry, the hedge fund managers and all who are working there, would be visiting the campus and teaching you. So it is not just an academia process. It will be more practical, and they would give you actual insights based on what the current market is doing. So I think that is something I would definitely do, and I would do a consulting specialization too.
You did a lot of research about the specializations and everything. And I think you also talked to some alumni to get
Yes.
the information about this IB specialization having actual, employees coming in and
Yes.
telling you about the whole situation.
Yeah. We can always do this research on our own, but networking with alumni, connecting with them on LinkedIn or anything, this definitely helps. In my case, I took the help of this consultant firm called Gradnary, and it is actually founded by this ESCP alumni. So they really help me in connecting me with people who are actually working in those domains. So it was very interesting. They gave me the contacts of people from ESCP who are working in Middle East because I wanted to work in Middle East eventually. So I took some insights from them and like people who actually did the IB specialization in London. I talked to them. So I think networking here is very important.
You went another mile to get all this information,
Yeah.
and that really counts.
That will definitely reflect on your interview also because the interviewers, I mean, in my case it was a PhD student and a professor of economics, if I remember. So they know what exactly is found on their website and what the students would know. So based on what you tell them about their school and their specialization, they would know that you did the research. And once they get the feeling that yes, he has done a lot of research regarding it, they'll feel that you are serious about it. And I think that really makes a difference in the interview.
Since I was not very clear about the specializations that I wanted to do, I told them that I'm open to exploration and then also converged to two industries. For example, culinary and luxury industry is what I talked about, and also talked about the marketing specialization.
Yes.
The next question that was asked was which sector do you want to do a job in?
So I said I wanted to work in strategy consulting, but also I want to explore the product management side. So since I come from a tech background, so it is important to show a bridge, right? So like, yes, all through my life, I have been doing tech. I have done designs as a mechanical engineer, and then I have coded as a software developer. And like suddenly now I'm shifting to a managerial role. So to bridge this gap, so to show the connection, so I told them that I wanted to work in product management, which is what I would like to explore also, maybe through an internship or something. So yes, even with those same specializations like consulting and IB, I'd still try to get an internship in the product management sector and check out how that is, and eventually see if consulting is something I would enjoy and is in a similar line to that. So yeah, I'd like to experiment and then choose my final sector which I want to work in.
One question that was additionally asked from me was how my bachelor's in technology is relevant with the managerial positions or the managerial degree that I am going for. And in this question, how I answered was in a product development life cycle or a product life cycle, there are three major stages: product invention, then it is product development, and then finally it's product marketing. I have already done the product invention and product development phases in my technical side of things. Now I wanted to pursue the understand the product marketing side of things as well, so that I am able to have a firm of my own in the future and I'm able to do all of these things. So this is how I connected my bachelor's with the managerial degree that I am going for now. Were similar questions asked with you as well?
I mean, they did ask me about technology, but not in these same lines. So, since I mentioned that I worked as an SD on machine learning and AI, they asked me a lot of questions regarding that. If I remember, they were like 3 to 4 questions on the same topic. So, they asked me, what does the future of AI look like and where do you see this going? So, they asked me a question about that. And yeah, I am highly optimistic on the prospects of AI and what it would do in the future. So I answered in the similar way. I told them how it would change the kind of things we are doing, how it would reduce menial works and mundane works, and let just help us get more time to do more creative and more interesting things. And yeah, I think they followed up with asking that will it take away all the jobs? Is it going to replace a lot of existing jobs, push people in? I think what happened to the automotive industry, uh, sorry, the horses and all those carts when Ford came into existence in the 1900s. So the automotive industry took over, but at the same time, it provided a lot of new jobs, a lot of mechanics, a lot of drivers, taxi services, and a lot more, surrounding that. And exactly what internet did to the libraries and printing presses, all these things. So just because something is replacing an existing thing and taking away jobs doesn't mean it is a bad thing. In the short run, you might feel that it is creating a negative effect, but in the long run, it is going to create a much more sustainable environment.
I felt was that the interviewers were not grilling us at all. They wanted to understand you at a personal level and what you've done till now and why you are choosing this university and this program.
Totally agree with it. And the interview of ESCP is very short. It would last for like 20 minutes, out of which they would give you 5 minutes for you to ask questions and they'll answer it.
Interviewers also asked us a little bit about how we are going to adapt to a new country and a new culture. Right? How did you answer that question?
So, yeah, this would actually be my first international experience. I have worked with clients on different projects who are outside of India before as part of my work, but I had never really stepped out of India and traveled to different countries. So I mentioned that this is my first international experience, and the way I would adapt to it is through making connections. I believe that people are going to help you through everything, and it is only through people that you're going to uh, cross those barriers which you will face. It is the ESCP alumni who helped me during my admission process and everything that is needed for it, and at the same time, it is the alumni, local people over there, your friends and your batchmates who are going to help you with understanding the cultures over there, getting through with your courses, working on your projects and everything. So end of the day, it all comes down to how good connections you make with people around you. And at the same time, I think it's important that uh, we should be adaptable. We should be accepting the fact that sometimes it will be lonely, sometimes you might not be finding help, and we
I
should be
felt
ready
that.
to accept that. So once I think these two are focused on, make connections, but at the same time, be ready to accept the fact that you have to face them alone.
They literally explicitly asked me whether I had an international experience in Europe. And I had been to the UK before, so I told them about it. And that was it for the cultural questions. They thought, according to me, that since I've already been to Europe, I won't have a problem adjusting with the European culture. Right? Do you have any other interview tips for people who will be applying to ESCP next year?
I would just say be honest in your application because they would definitely know based on the cross questioning they do and whatever experience you have had in your life, like it might be through some projects or internships, the clubs and societies you were a part of during your undergraduation or your work experience. Highlight them and try to build stories out of it. I did not have an international experience. I was not part of many clubs. I was part of one club which was also very technical. It's SAE, the Society of Automotive Engineers. So again, there's nothing managerial which I did there. So I think despite all these, I got admitted to ACP Paris campus with a 100% scholarship per annum. So I think the point here is about uh, having a strong connection as to why do you want to do this course. Okay, I am a B.tech mechanical engineer graduate working as a software developer. So why do I want to do this?
I can't get over the fact that you got a 100% scholarship for your M1 year. Congratulations on that, Ashish.
Thank you.
It's not a small thing. It's a really big thing, right? You probably know that's why I'm blabbering. How did you do it?
I think you should contact scholarships@escp.eu. So, I mean, I really do not know the exact reason they gave me a scholarship, but I, I feel so. My experiences really helped me. So, like I said, I have a good undergraduate grade. So, I scored a 9.39 CGPA in my graduation. So, I think that really stuck there because of the academics. And I had a good GMAT score of 730. So, academics and scores wise, I think it was good. But apart from that, even the work experience, I have had 2 years of work experience when I applied. Now I have 2.5, but when I applied, it was 2 years, and that too, it was in two different domains. So I think that uh, exposure to different domains and the way I performed in the interview kind of helped towards it.
Good to know that actually. Did you ask any questions to the
Yeah,
interviewers?
and it's always better to ask them some questions, however dumb you think they might be. Be prepared with those questions earlyhand. One of them was a PhD student, and the other was a professor from Professor of Economics. So I asked the PhD student about how the actual uh, culture is among the students over there, and to the professor I asked if they have any insights on what are the major problems that people from tech background, non-managerial backgrounds, would face during their masters.
You must have thought about these questions from beforehand.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point in you asking information which you can find on a website, is what I
Exactly.
felt. So if I can do a Google search and search through filings, if I can find that information, there's no point in asking them. So I thought I should ask them something which they would personally know, and maybe it is not publicly available. Things like something you would ask your friends, and like something like that.
That's a really nice tip, actually. One more thing that I did for my interview preparation was that I knew that some questions were going to be asked.
Yes.
Like, tell me about yourself.
Mhm.
Why ESCP and why am I?
Yep.
Like, these are obvious questions. So I had answers for this prepared beforehand.
Yeah.
Even the questions, I had it prepared beforehand, and that really helped me with my confidence during the interview as well.
Yeah. It'll also help you limit the time, because if you ask me a question, I can go on and blabber about it for 5 minutes, but the interviewer will lose interest. So you just need to answer everything you want to, but in a limit of 2 minutes.
Those were all the questions that were asked in the ESCP interview.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yes, thank
It
you.
was really good having you here.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you're still here, I assume that you found value in this video. Remember that before getting to the interview round, you need to clear the essay round as well. So go check out this video where I have shared real life examples of how I laid out my college essay. Also, consider subscribing by clicking on this circle over here and never miss another video on my college application journey. So that's it for today. See you soon. Bye.